MSNBC, for example, who is labeling the Wall Street protest the liberal Tea Party. It's as if they've taken this thing over.
It's just like they don't want Americans getting together. Old, young, black, white, all religions, liberal, conservative. That's what they're afraid of. So they label the Tea Party racist white people, so folks who aren't white go, well, I better not be part of that. And then they label the Occupy Wall Street a bunch of communists, so that people think, well, if you protest Wall Street, you're a communist. These are the communists that steal the money, just like Stalin and other people like that. And so they want to play games with all the labels. And yes, they're trying to brand it liberal conservative when it's a populist constitutional issue. It's truly classical liberal, like Thomas Jefferson. More liberty, more freedom, smaller government. That's true liberalism. Liberalism isn't street corner cameras and socialism and people on the government dole and government spying on you. Classical liberalism isn't neocons and wars and torture. Republican Democratic Party are like
Alex, check that out.
Awesome car. All right.
Oh no, sir, let the host.
Hey, it's the Ron Paul mobile.
Hold on, let the man sign it real quick.
That was awesome.
He took direct kill too. Alice, real quick, I want to get your thoughts on Herman Cain, because Herman Cain has risen to the top of the crop now, and he too was on the Federal Reserve Board in Kansas City about 15 years ago or so. What do you think about this guy?
Herman Cain was financed by the high-powered Skull and Bones Pillsbury family. Seriously. And he's a globalist. Look, I was told by insiders inside the Republican Party 15 years ago, they said, some of us are going to try to fight this, but they said, beware, they're going to sell a free fair tax, a sales tax or a VAT as a replacement for the income tax. But then when it comes time, they're going to keep the income tax, just claim they're going to lower it and introduce the new taxes, which bring federal control over every sale, everything you do. There'll need to be an ID card when you buy things, because people in the lower tax percentage will be exempt. Just sell it. And that'll track everything you do. And Herman Cain and others have been the ones that always drive that. Same thing in Europe with their central bank, their private central bank. They're wanting new VAT, new sales taxes. Greece is revolting against that right now. And so Herman Cain comes up there with all this conservative rhetoric and sounds like a down-home guy criticizing people. And he comes out of the Kansas City Fed, arguably the second or third most powerful position after the New York Fed. I mean, this is a high-level guy. It's one thing to be on the Federal Reserve Board. He was the Federal Reserve head in Kansas City, and he's pushing all these new taxes to, quote, pay off our debts. It's the Federal Reserve's debts. And so Herman Cain is a ringer that I knew they were going to try to send in against Ron Paul if Rick Perry failed. First, Rick Perry, former Al Gore, chief of staff in Texas. Rick Perry, carbon tax supporter. Rick Perry, Hillary Care supporter. Rick Perry, Bilderberg Group attendee. Rick Perry, NAFTA, all this garbage. We exposed him, he started falling. So then they roll in the next puppet, the next fake Ron Paul, which is Herman Cain. Herman Cain is super bad news, just like Mitt Romney, just like Rick Perry. But he's even more high level because he's from inside the Federal Reserve. So Herman Cain is another counterfeit.
Yeah! Thank you for your service, Alex.
Thank you.
Appreciate the
You guys are awesome.
Yeah!
Freedom Files.